You've released many albums. I won't go into every album. What is for you? Can you say there are certain phases in your recording career? Maybe the first few years, and then you had the big success. How do you see your own records? Do they some records bind more together than others, or?
Yeah, but the certainly in our career it's been very eclectic. There's been lots of moments where, you know, we have such, you know, radically different sounding periods. That's usually something that other people define, because it's quite difficult for us to really define exactly what we do, you know.
No, but sometimes you could say, well, if I look at the first years, you had you had many albums. Every year you had an album. How do you look back on those days? It must have been really intense and hectic.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I mean, the thing is, apart from the actual product, the actual songs of that, all we had in our lives was music.
Yeah.
Because when you're that age, been using it, but Neil Young uses a great quote in talking about, he says what you do when you're young almost doesn't count, because he says, you know, of course you're on fire. You've got nothing else in your life, nothing to lose. That's an important one. Mm-hmm. Nothing to lose. You've never been really hurt yet. You've got all the time of the day. You don't have family. You don't have responsibilities. You just. That's it, and that's where those first 5 albums came from.
Nothing to lose, you said, and you were on fire. You were young.
Well, we didn't think we had anything to lose, but actually we would have. If this hadn't panned out for Charlie and I, we were dead. We're gone.
But that's the way you looked at it back then. When did you actually get the feeling you had something to lose, and it was more of a maybe you had more thoughts about writing music?
There's a period with success where your band becomes an industry, within an industry, and there's a lot more than you involved, and maybe you don't think I've got something to lose, but you know, there's a lot more factors to take into it. You've got a payroll, you've got people on the payroll, you've got jobs, you've got a record company saying to you, give us the album before Christmas, because you know all of you're aware of an industry. Your promoters, guy lost £20,000, a guy made £20,000, you know, which was big money then. All of that stuff wasn't in the ether in those early days.
Well, now there's a new album, of course, big music. It's also a song on the album. Well, what is it? Is it some sort of statement, big music, or?
I think it is actually. It's a statement lyric-wise. It's a statement from me. It may sound superficial, but it's just a reaffirmation to me about what music means to me, what I get from music, what I get from great music, the feelings I get from it, the sense of joy I get from it, the fulfillment I get from it. It's a reaffirmation of that's what this is all about. Everything else is nonsense. This is what this is all about.
Can you still recall when you wrote the lyrics and what sort of atmosphere you were in?
Yeah, I was pissed off because I'd gone to see Prince and he didn't play any songs that I wanted to hear. It was like jazz funk and it was really, you know.
But why pissed off? Because you wanted to hear the old
I just want to hear some fucking jazz funk.
Yeah.
I don't care who he is. It's like, you playing that?
And that's when you thought, that's when you actually got the feeling back that you thought, well, music is really important.
It was a kind of, we'll show you.
Yeah.
And I went back and Charlie's riff was already there, but made it bigger and was real, you know, real. But this time it wasn't about Prince anymore. It was about, that had passed. It was about, you know, this is, because it is what it's all about. I mean, everything else is really important, a real factor, but the absolute essence of when you plug in and you stand there, what you're going to play and how it's going to feel, that's, you know, that's the fun, that's our main thing.
Is it something that you might have, made less important during recent years for yourself, maybe in hindsight?
I think you can drift, you know, you certainly, yes. You can do. It's normal, you know. I used to have this amazing house by the side of a mountain in Scotland. It was the most amazing view you could see, and within a couple of weeks you couldn't see the view anymore because you saw it every day. And then when you went away and you come back, you're like, oh, look at the view.
Was this the first song you wrote for the album, Big Music?
It was the idea. The musically, the idea would have been one of the oldest. I think, is that right, Jim? Maybe
The music
probably
kept escaping us. Charlie wrote the music, most of the music, about 10 years ago. Couldn't quite get it. It kept going on the back burner. Some ideas go on the back burner, and then you think, oh, not that thing again. I was really frustrated. We've spent time. It's not working. And the guy, keyboard player, working with us, and he was that idea. There's something there, you know.
And what did he hear?
Well, I think we had, you know, it was such a, you know, like Jim was saying, you know, we had this idea, and we, you know, strangely enough, it was an idea that could have had a few different directions, actually, even though the core melody was really strong, and, you know, and it hasn't changed really, but the thing was we had to find a way of making it actually just, you know, work in this period. Sometimes musical ideas have a time, and this was the time for this. And as Jim said, you know, it was picked up on, and the most important thing was getting Jim to find an area to get in on it. And that's really, you know, Jim had left for a weekend, we had worked on the idea, we'd put a bass on it, and Jim heard it then, and heard where it could be, and that was, you know, I mean, there was quite a few ideas that were from long periods ago, you know, that became, that we updated, if you like, but I think with Big Music, that was probably the oldest one then.
Well, you said, well, sometimes it's not right for the music then to...
Yeah.
What does it, how come? What does it tell you?
Sorry, how do you mean?
Well, you said sometimes you write some music, but then it's not actually, well, it
doesn't have its time.
Fit,
well, sometimes it's just a missing piece. You know, sometimes it's just a missing piece. Sometimes it's the punchline. Sometimes I mean, it was Charlie said, it could be maybe we just, that bass is wrong, so fix that bass, and suddenly, for me, maybe the phrasing could change. I can't remember quite what it was, but and then suddenly you have things where an idea seems out of time, and then an idea seems in time. It's a great question to say why, but I think it's one of the we don't know. But it's one of the things we love about music. It's still mysterious to us. There is no rule book, and yet there is, because, you know, we will argue till actually we very rarely argue, but occasionally we'll be out of sync. And you know, how can you not see this? You know, or Charlie, how can you not see this?
And then my last question, because I have to stop. From this album, is there a song that you were, at first you were out of sync and then you were in sync with each other?
Very rarely.
But maybe, can you, if it's not there, then it's not there. But I was thinking maybe is there one song that you first didn't agree upon and then you did?
Well, the whole process of making music has to go through that kind of a process in a way. And we find ourselves that's part of the development of music. Because if we just went in there and we hit on it and it was working and that was it, we would never really develop them to the degree that we have to get them to. So that is by very nature part of, that's by default, that's how the process works. But we don't, no, not really like, conflicting ideas. I think we always have, the door's always open for stuff to get through.
What is his favourite song on the album right now? Do you know?
I think it's Blindfolded, Jim, isn't it?
Yeah.
The opening track, Blindfolded, yeah.
I think, even if it isn't, I think I recall a great sense of relief when it happened, because the song was already written, but we couldn't find an angle to it. It sounded a bit plain to begin with, and then we did this version, and it sounded a bit country, and then but psychobilly.
Yes, yeah.
Psycho rockabilly, and I thought that's not the thing either. And then when Charlie got these stuff, suddenly all the boxes seemed to be ticked, and I thought, if it was a movie, I thought, we've got the opening scene. That's strong enough to draw you in, and it informs us what the rest of the record should now be about. And that was because of that sort of feeling of, all right. And not only did we feel it, we've got 3 or 4 people around us that kick the tires of what we do and say, and they were like, that's where it should be, which reaffirmed, you never know, but you feel a lot more confident if you get a kind of affirmation.
Yeah.
Quick answer, do you know what his favorite song is now?
No, I don't. Oh, he surprised me yesterday by saying, because someone asked, the last track, Spirited Away, so it's funny, my track is the first and his track is the last. But I didn't know till yesterday.
Why?
Well, I mean, again, maybe it's because I've been through the album and this is like, there's a novelty
Because
factor.
you played it live last week, it sounded amazing.
Yeah, we played it, and I think it's a really beautiful little naive song. When Jim, it was written, there's a guy called Owen Parker, who, and when Jim brought me the sort of the basic idea the first time, and what Jim sang on it, I thought it was really, really beautiful, and it, as we recorded it, it became very emotional, and it's very naive, and I think it's very bold for that, and it makes me. I think it's a track that just adds to this album, where by the time people get to that point, they go, oh, and that as well, that's what it does for me, and if I listen objectively.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.